The football mania is on. It's World Cup time. In the studios of TrinityMirror.tv, we have Mr. S.R. Suryanarayan, a veteran sports journalist who has seen on-field football action. Welcome to Turf Talk on TrinityMirror.tv, Mr. Suryanarayan.
Thank you, Mr. Ramraj. Welcome, football lovers.
Sir, you have been watching, we have about 11 days of football action. So at this stage, what do you think of what's been going on in Russia?
I would say it's like a curate's egg, good in parts, a little bit of thrill and a little bit of prosaic nature games. But the only saving grace is there has never been a goalless draw. There has always been a goal in every match, which is a saving grace.
And what has been so exciting in the tournament so far for you?
I think the one prime factor I notice is that the teams on whom you had not given high ratings, they've all been making a lot of splash. The leading teams have been facing disappointment. So it's the other way around actually. The leading teams are not having a smooth sail, whereas the others, what you call the underdogs, they're having a field day.
And what do you think is the reason for this kind of a change?
Maybe it's a question of getting into the groove. You can't put away a leading team so easily. Germany has proved it. One match drawn, another match you got to win, and then you go up to the stoppage time to get that win. But you got it. That is perseverance. In fact, if there is one lesson that Germany has given, it is that perseverance always pays, and they've done it. It doesn't matter if it is the last second. They got both the goals and they won the match, and that's history now. Whereas the other thing is also, the question is, how do you take your opponents? You feel, oh, maybe this is an easy affair, and maybe you can go along. But today football is so much about techniques and so much about mathematics. In fact, the way the players move around, the way the geometrical, the passing and all that. You talk about Spain having a close tic-tac passing, and every other team seems to be having very good in this department. And it is no longer about long balls or getting into a position in the circle there. How to progress, and the way they are doing it, it's a pretty exciting sight. As a football fan, I think that's an exciting sight.
And another concept is, it happened quite some time back, that spoke about total football, like every player fitting into every role.
Yeah.
Do you think that's playing a very important role in this tournament?
It is, because that helps the players to ensure that you don't get marked. Because if every player has got a role, then he also got an important role of being there, right there. If you can attack, you attack. But then you can't. You have to guard your own position also. And that's exactly what is total football. Everybody attacks at the same time and also falls back in defense. And you would have seen in some of the matches the kind of defense players have been going around. So I think in a way, yes, it's a mix of the Latin American and the European football. It's probably a new line of thinking is coming around in football.
You spoke about Germany, but now we have Argentina.
Yeah.
So, and Messi missing that penalty. So what are your impressions on Argentina's status and Messi's future?
Messi is a superstar, there's no doubt on that. Okay, what has happened and it's unfortunate. But the point is, it could be either. It could be because the burden of expectations are pretty high on him. It could be because he has been we all saw how he is getting marked. And then in any case, expecting him to always do the playmaking, expecting him to always create the magic is, I think he's not Maradona in any case. And then these are days when people like individual brilliance may not probably have a great role. I mean, the straight away you can say that, because it's a collective game in any way, but more so now, because every player seemed to be fit, every player seemed to be in the mood for action. So my feeling is too much of expectations were there on Messi, and maybe that's the reason that he couldn't do much or he couldn't deliver much.
But even that missing that penalty is at least supposed to score from penalties, and the Iceland goalkeeper said he had already studied Messi and he was prepared for it.
Even the best goal scorers in the world have missed. Did not Zico miss the penalty in the World Cup, in a very important penalty shootout? So it happens to every footballer, and it not necessarily have to be an ordinary footballer. Even the superstar can miss I think you have to take it that way only. In any case, Messi was totally under pressure. That much was very clear.
So now when you look at the points table, of the 8 groups, there are very few teams which have 6 points, and this is almost the halfway stage of the group
Yeah.
league
Yeah.
matches. So in this status, so what do you think, which are the teams you think would be looking to moving to the next stage?
Well, Mexico is pretty good. They've already shown the mettle. You have England doing exceedingly well. I mean, people within England themselves, they had their own doubts about whether England can go far. They've always been unlucky when it comes to the World Cup. Okay, 1966 winner, that's fine. They still have people within the country don't think to have much confidence on their own team. But then they've done well. Then you have I mean, teams which you probably wouldn't bet. Japan is doing well. Croatia is doing well. Switzerland has won this thing. So I think it's an open World Cup as far as the initial thing is concerned. You can't really say, yeah, ABC or these are the teams that are going to make it. It could be anybody's this thing. It could be what is going to be the day's performance.
And so far you've seen Russia, both the matches they seem to be very dominant from Group A. You think that home advantage is going to take them further ahead and they could be on the podium?
Possible, because home advantage is a big thing in football. Not that the pitch is making any big difference to not like cricket or anything, but the ambience is there, and then you're playing in front of your home crowd, and that sense of it can inspire you. And well, they're playing well. Basically, that's the final part. They're playing well. They're getting their goals. They're getting their moves properly, and that's it. Maybe they are not being tested to the extent. Other teams, or maybe they had their thing, but I feel Russia has done well so far.
So Brazil is known as the country of football magic,
Yeah,
and you have the star Neymar there.
correct.
Though he is coming from some injury, so how do you think Brazil's game has been so far? And
Again, Brazil and Germany, I feel these are the two teams you just can't put them aside. Okay, what happened in Brazil last Rio and how they got beaten is a different story. People they have themselves forgotten it. But they have a collection of talent which can be an envy to any team. Now here again, goal getting is the most important thing in football. But they did it in the last second. But till then, you just see how they were attacking, how they were getting their moves in, what kind of pattern they were doing. It was absolute delight to watch. No, it was not a question of everybody watching only Neymar doing it. There was Marcelo on one side, there was Pep on the other side. I mean, other players, I don't get the name, but then everybody seemed to be having excellent footwork, foot skills and all that. So I think that takes away the burden a little bit on Neymar and one thing. And when it comes to the final part, when you know that when things are going bad, here is a man who can deliver. Yes, Neymar is there to inspire the others.
And talking about the superstars, we have Egypt depending so much on Salah. He didn't play the first match,
Yes.
but second match. But what do you think is Egypt's fate and status, and where are they going? Can one player take the team further ahead?
No, that's what I'm saying. You've seen from the other team, one player cannot make a difference to it. It can make a difference to some extent. But these are days when one player cannot take a country straight away there. He has to be, I think those days are over. Mohamed Salah is a great player. I mean coming from a country which is not among the top contenders, and you expect him to do it. He was also not probably fully fit now still, and he was inspiring the others. His presence itself was making the others to do. We have to do it for him at least. But unfortunate that match they were doing so well, they lost. I think things would have been different had the first match we thought Salah they had won or they held on or that. I think that made a difference.
Now talking about superstars again, Ronaldo, Messi, Neymar, and Salah.
Yeah.
So of all the four, who do you think has so far impressed much and would be looking forward to doing better for their
Undoubtedly,
country?
it has to be Ronaldo, because Cristiano Ronaldo, the hat-trick he scored, brilliant. And even the one goal he scored against Morocco, the winning goal, that was also absolute opportunism, because he got it. 4th minute, he scored the goal and finished off the match. I think he looks to be the man in contention for doing something big, because one thing is he doesn't take too much of load on himself. He allows others to do the initial build-up, and he's there right there when the rapier touch is needed in the front, which he provides with his absolute brilliance.
Okay, you spoke about Japan, but even South Korea, though they do not figure anywhere, they look like they'll be out of the from the first stage. What do you think about these two? I mean, Asian teams doing well in this tournament?
Asian teams have always been talked about highly by FIFA. They think that these are the countries who can provide a different variety to the whole thing. We have always been talking about Latin America. We're talking about European style. But here is a team. There are two teams which can show you what flexibility is, what pliable they are, and how they can go around speed, whether it's speed or whether it is question of ball skills and all that. Both Korea and Japan are almost in the same category. I think they have not been having a fair play so far, and hopefully this that trend should change, and maybe we can see some surprises here.
Now you spoke about Latin America. Now you also have the African countries,
Yeah.
Asian countries, and the European style. So
Yeah.
four different kinds of styles.
Yeah.
So what are your impressions, or what do you think? Do these styles have some similarities, or are they so way different that it becomes difficult for the teams to match each other?
I think the Latin American is absolute poetry in motion, brilliant because it's just that you watch, just look at it in awe. The European style is more of calculations and clear geometrical mathematical the way they go about. When it comes to the Africans, it's just athletic brilliance. They are the most, you can see the way they run around, they outstrip you on the field, their ball skill, everything seems to come natural to them. It's just question of molding them into a potent weapon, and that is probably because you look at the economic background, you look at their experience in the football field and all that. It's a question of time. I have a feeling that in the years to come, you're going to see more talent, more great performers from the African continent. Nigeria and Senegal have been a revelation this time, though I don't know how far they will go, but Nigeria was brilliant the way they're going around. They've always been. There are some surprises from African countries in each World Cup. So I think it won't be different this time also.
So now we have in this first World Cup where you use technology.
Yeah.
So what are your impressions on technology and how far it can be taken, and how is it going to change the concept of football as we see in other sports like cricket has so much of technology today?
Yeah, that's what it's becoming a part of everyday this thing, because sports is now today is not about entertainment alone. It's a high stake, high business job, and I think when the stakes go up, there is also need for perfection, need for clarity in what you do it. There is no room for chicanery, I think. A little mischief here and all that. Once in a way, you used to say, okay, to err is human. What Maradona did in '86, the handball goal, which he himself admitted later on, people pardoned it because, okay, done. He's a brilliant player doing a little bit of. Today, there's no room for that. And with the high stakes around, I think the technology helps in the fact that you can be sure that it's been a fair game. You saw the slow motion cameras, how they caught even the superstars in the act of making bluffs. The way they fell or the way they dived or whatever it is. Both Neymar and Ronaldo, we have seen what they have done. Just idea basically is to get the favorable verdict from the referee. Today we can always correct it. If it is within this thing, if the referee feels that there is an issue there or he is alerted, you can see it and you can be assured. We saw in this World Cup already how a penalty was overruled, how a penalty was given when initially it was not ruled. So these are good steps because at least the teams will know it's there is justice, or there is at least a proper overseeing of action, and not based on what they do on the field or the kind of acting they do on the field. So to that extent, I think it's good. But then technology at some point of time, takes away the human factor. And do we really need robots to play on the field? This is a question which I ask myself sometimes. At some point of time, if you go on, take technology to the extent that any action, everything is going to be seen on the screen and tested or ruled, then you could as well have robots on the football field rather than have humans. So my feeling is a little bit of, allowance is not bad. In cricket, for instance, they give you only two chances perhaps to ask for a review. Have it in football, maybe one or two, not beyond. Not that this would open the gates for any unfair play, but allow the referees also to tighten up their this thing, isn't it? Let him also be alerted, but let it not show it on the field.
Yeah, I take up the skills and sort of be more alert and things like that.
I think that's why it should be. It should be, there will be allowance should be given for that also. Let it be not totally technology oriented.
Yeah.
Allow a little human factor also.
Yeah. There's a combination of human factor plus technology to make sure
Yeah,
that the right decisions are
yeah,
given at the right
because
times.
you have called football a common man's sport. Let's bring in lead element of that commonness at least.
Sir, I know it's pretty early stages, but still, at this point of time, foreseeing what were the four teams which you think could potentially make it to the semi-final stage?
I had my doubts about Germany until that last goal by Kroos, that one winning goal by Kroos. That one action made me feel you can't set aside Germany, because here is a team even at the last second come out with a brilliant action. So I think that particular goal would have inspired this team to realize, so they know that we are there, we are still there, and they are the defending champions. Remember, and I feel they have a, and this time, and the coach has also been there with them from 2006, so he knows exactly what the team's strength and weaknesses are. The man has already removed the last year's winning goal scorer. Goetz is out of the team. He's not in the team. So that shows to what extent he knows the depths of the team's strength and weakness. I think they have come the most prepared one, and Germany has always been a slow starter, so they will make it to the thing. Brazil, brilliant, but let's hope Neymar keeps his head and everything action together. Yes, and he's also coming out of injury, so let's hope that he gets to this top form. Then maybe there's a big difference. Argentina, that slender thread that's holding them into this thing. In case they make it, thanks to the other two teams, Iceland and Croatia, if they happen to have the results coming in their favor, yes, you don't know, you can say Argentina is there. And will England surprise the way they're doing it? I wouldn't be surprised even if Belgium comes into the top 8. And these are the teams which come to my mind. Portugal, yes, they have done well. I don't know to what, because they have not been severely tested yet. They have been dominating, but let's see to what extent they can withstand in case Ronaldo is totally bottled up.
So it's like you're talking about Portugal being sort of a one-man show,
Yeah,
Ronaldo
I mean, it's not
dominating.
exactly one man show, but one man who can make a difference. The others are building it up. He gives the finishing touch.
Okay.
Whereas in Messi's case, he has to start the build up and he has to do the finishing touch. That's how they thought it'll do. That's what Coach Sampoli probably thought about, which is probably making a huge mistake, because Messi should have been allowed a little bit more freedom to go around, and the other players should have done a little bit more for Messi to work on, which is I think, I don't know whether it's too late for them, but then that's how it is. And yeah, this is it. Russia can make a few surprises, home plays, and then they're not pushovers in any case. So even they may not have won a World Cup, but they're good.
Now coming to India, 1950 they qualified from Group 10, and there are talks about they didn't go either because they didn't have boots or they didn't have the money.
Yeah.
That apart, now when do you think India can really make it to a World Cup football?
I doubt if it can do it in our lifetime, because the simple reason is just this, that our system is not oriented towards making champions. Okay, we have a Chetri. One Chetri doesn't make a huge
Bhutia.
thing. Yeah, Bhutia was there. Bhutia was there before. Now the question is, we must when we started this I League or professional league, the idea was not to build up clubs or believe in what the clubs do and all that. The idea the first and foremost was we should have top national level players to ensure that we have a place in Asia. FIFA believed India has got the potential. That whether we live up to the potential and then come and become the Asia's best, that will be the day we can think about the future of India in World Cup. Let us first of all win a gold medal, or let us first of all, we have won it before.
Yeah.
We have won it before in 1952 when Asian Games was inaugurated. And so we can do it. The question is, you should have the mentality, you should have the aspiration for that, and you should work for it sincerely. This is the first time in after so many years, we are seeing some element of light at the end of the tunnel. The way Chetri and his team and under Stephen Constantine, they are getting into the Asian Cup now. They have come before also, but this time there is an aspiration that maybe they will do a little bit more than what they have done so far in the Asian Cup. Let us first see that. Let's hope.
So, one last question. If you had to ask to pinpoint and say a particular team is going to win this World Cup, so which team would you like to pinpoint, any reasons behind it?
That's a very difficult question now, because it's too early, this thing, because football is so much a physical game. So your best player can sometimes at the last minute something can happen. But I will never discount Germany in my book. I will say they have a very good chance of repeating what they did in Brazil last time. But if statistics is to go, or if history is if anything to go by, they say that 1 year if it is Europe, then the other year it has to be Latin America. And I noticed that you have teams like Brazil is doing well, Colombia is doing well now. So you never know which my feeling is, see, I would be love to be disproved, but I'd be surprised if an outsider comes and wins this time, a new champion, a team that has never won before.
That's
If that comes about, I think that will be a great moment for World Cup, because that's how it becomes universal.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for being in the studios of 20minute.tv and sharing your views on World Cup football.
Thank you very much.